Let's be real, great content is the absolute engine of B2B marketing, right? It's what builds awareness, trust, and ultimately your pipeline. But here's the million-dollar question. What's the point of creating all that amazing content if your target audience never, ever sees it?
And this quote it hits the nail on the head. Your content's potential is completely locked away until it gets in front of the right eyeballs. So today, we're going to unpack the one strategy that's designed to solve that exact problem: B2B content syndication.
Here's a quick look at what we're covering. We'll start with why content struggles to get seen, then define what syndication actually is, how it works, some key strategies to get it right, and finally, how to measure if it's actually making a difference. All right, first things first. To really get why syndication is such a game changer, we have to understand the world our B2B buyers are living in today and the massive visibility hurdles that creates for us marketers. Wow, just take that in for a second. 10 to 20 pieces of content. B2B buyers are deep in research mode, looking at tons of stuff across all kinds of platforms. That creates this incredibly noisy, crowded landscape where trying to get your content to stand out on its own feels almost impossible. And, the old playbook just isn't working like it used to. Buyers aren't just Googling their problems anymore. They're hanging out on trusted industry sites, they're in partner networks, social media reach is a total gamble, and ads, well, they can get really expensive really fast. The bottom line is, you can't just publish something and pray for the best anymore. So how do you solve this massive visibility problem? Well, you stop trying to make buyers come find you. Instead, you go meet them exactly where they already are. And that, my friends, is the whole idea behind content syndication. So what is it, really? Well, simply put, it's the process of taking your most valuable content, your white papers, your webinars, and getting it republished on other trusted websites. Think of it like a book publisher. They don't just sell books out of their one little shop, right? No, they distribute them to thousands of bookstores where readers are already browsing. That's syndication in a nutshell. And the goals here go way beyond just getting leads. You're building your brand, you're establishing yourself as a thought leader. But maybe the most important part, you are multiplying the ROI on the content you already poured so much time and effort into creating. Now, I know this might sound a little complex, but the process itself is actually pretty straightforward. So let's just walk through the step-by-step workflow. This is basically the playbook for turning your content into a predictable lead gen machine. You start by picking your best content, finding the right partner to spread it around, defining exactly who you want to see it, and then you launch, you capture the leads, and, this is key, you nurture them. And hey, notice the type of content that works best. We're not talking about sales pitches or product brochures here. We're talking about high-value, educational stuff that actually solves a real problem for your audience. These formats work because they're genuinely helpful. Okay, this next part, the targeting, this is what makes or breaks a campaign. Seriously. By using criteria like the right industry, company size, and specific job roles, you make sure the leads you get are a perfect match for your ideal customer profile, or your ICP. That's just a fancy term for the exact person at the exact company you want to sell to. Okay, so knowing the process is one thing, but actually winning at it is a whole other ballgame. Let's get into the strategic choices and the best practices that'll make sure your syndication efforts actually drive real results. So you've pretty much got two main paths you can take here. Free syndication, things like guest posts, that's great for general brand awareness. But if your goal is a predictable flow of qualified leads, paid syndication is hands down the most effective tool. It offers guaranteed distribution and that super precise targeting that free channels just can't touch. So if you really want to maximize your return, here's a quick checklist. Always lead with value. Know exactly who you're targeting. Check out your partners carefully. And so critical, have a plan for what happens after you get a lead. And speaking of that, here is one of the most common mistakes that can totally derail this whole process: sending these leads straight to your sales team. Look, someone who downloaded a white paper is definitely interested, yes, but they are usually not ready to buy right now. They need a little more nurturing before they're ready for that sales call. Which brings us to the most important part of all. How in the world do you know if any of this is actually working? Let's talk about the metrics that truly matter for measuring the real business impact of your syndication program. So many marketers get stuck on cost per lead, or CPL, but honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real story, the good stuff, is found further down the funnel.
How many of those leads become marketing qualified? How many become sales qualified and turn into real opportunities? That's the full picture of success.
So this table gives you a really clear framework for what you should be tracking. Are you actually reaching your ideal customer? Are the leads engaging with your stuff? Is this program contributing to your pipeline? And maybe most importantly, talk to your sales team. Get their feedback. They will tell you straight up if the leads are any good. And that brings us to one last question. I want you to think about every single white paper, ebook, and webinar you've created. They are valuable assets. Content syndication is the strategy that ensures those assets don't just sit there and collect digital dust. It puts them to work. So the only question left is, are you ready to unlock their full potential?